So, we all know by now how Christians and conservatives, which make up the majority of pro lifers, have this intense focus on making sure a baby is born so that they can do who knows what with said baby. Indoctrination, forcing that child into poverty. It's really. And possibilities are endless when it comes to Christians and conservatives. But as someone who is a pro choice and has always believed in the right to body autonomy, it frustrates me to no end to see how many anti abortion legislations, mainly in the South, are being introduced. I will never understood why Republicans and conservatives want to control women's bodies so badly, but then I realized that they don't want to actually do anything of importance, nor do they have any plans to fix any issues, seeing as they vote no on any sort of bills put forth by Democrats, and how they don't want to absolve student loan debt. So I was on YouTube one day and I was going to search for a video when I noticed that the abortion was trending as trending search word. So being curious, I clicked on it thinking another anti-abortion legislation got introduced or passed, but what I found it said was someone adding unnecessary fuel to an already erupting volcano. So this video by the LaBrant fam, which is a YouTube family channel, and feels like the right thing to do who was to make a video about abortion. And I was shaking my head when I first saw it, but it gets even worse, guys. It gets even worse when I did my research on these family. So Cole LaBrant is the father, and Savannah LaBrant is the mother that run and operates the channels, and they are also Christian, so instantly puts all their bias all over this documentary, as you will see. Which they said they were avoiding to do. They said this wasn't, to change anyone's minds, but then proceeded to say that, if one baby is saved because it's documentary, so therefore you're all out of whack. So are you trying to change people's minds? Are you not? Like, you can't, that's two contradictory statements. Uh, but I did some more research on this family and learned that they have actually a lot of controversies, especially, because they use their daughter for clown, as, much family channels are exposed to be doing. But in this juicy documentary on abortion that they uploaded to their channel, it's 38 minutes and 50 seconds long. It's pretty sizable, uh, and it has a pretty a long on what I call quote unquote neutral stuff. Uh, that they said there was going to be going down, but that could have been farther from the case. What I'm going to tell you that happened in this documentary, and I am not making this up. There are several points in this documentary that make, and I'm not even, I'm kidding you. It compares things that should not be compared at all. So what we're going to be doing in this video is I'm going to be, well, not we, I am going to be going through this whole documentary and explaining what is wrong with the points that this documentary make. So, the first thing that is wrong with this documentary is the very beginning. And you're saying to yourself, wait a minute, how can the beginning of a documentary be very wrong? And trust me, you are going to see just how wrong it can get. So, at the very beginning of the video, they say that they're not going to try to change anyone's minds on abortions, and that is complete BS right off the bat. Why else would you be putting something like this out if you weren't trying to change people's minds? And also the fact that you said that if one baby is saved from this, at least one baby is saved from this, then that's good enough for you guys. But I digress. So instantly they try to paint a so much negative things about abortion immediately. So everything they said beforehand is false, and it just made no sense. You might as well just said we're gonna try to save as many babies as we can with this video instead of saying we're not trying to change anybody's minds. But at the very beginning, they compare the number of abortions to, and I'm not making this up, guys, genocide. You go watch it yourself. Matter of fact, hold up, I got some actual clips of it going right here.
Maybe the answer isn't either or, but rather both. I have my personal convictions. You have yours. We're all so different, and that's okay.
They literally compare abortions to the Holocaust, which had over 11 million people killed, who were innocent, by the way, out of hate just because of who they were. But they don't just say the Holocaust. No, they have to bring out a whole lot more genocides, like the Rwandan genocide, which was 800,000 people killed, and the Cambodian genocide, which was 3 million people killed. Guess how many of U.S. abortions that they use, to compare to those genocidal numbers? They get to 61 million abortions before they cut to a video of a growing fetus. So they didn't even like stop at like a clear number. And I'm just like, why can you do that? I guess they did because the rate, how many abortions are growing every day. Uh, but it gets even worse. Then they start comparing the number of abortions to everyday causes of death in America. I promise you, I am not making this up. They compare car accidents, heart disease, and smoking, all things which are completely unrelated to abortion, by the way. But they even said that abortion is the deadliest killer in America.
In America, over 2,000 abortions happen every day.
Every day in America, 100 people die in car accidents. 1,300 people die from smoking. 1,800 people die from heart disease, the leading cause of death in the US, according to the CDC. But there's another, even more deadly killer than heart disease.
I am sick and tired of pro-life people painting people who get abortions and people who do abortions as murderers. I just I just don't understand it. Like it's what you make it seem like. It make it seem like these women are literally taking these fetuses or these growing babies and just like stabbing a knife through their heart. Like you're making it seem like this is so malicious when it's not. And I will never get that by conservatives and anyone who's pro-life, because you guys always want to paint the mother as like the ultimate like murder. Like oh my god, like no one could be worse than her when she is going through so much right now. The last thing she's on her mind is worrying about how to take care of a child when she can't even take care of herself. Why would you want to put somebody that you love through that? Why would you want to do that? As parents, you always want to provide the best for your kids, and you do not want to put them in situations that they should not be in. Like right now, so many kids are in poverty right now. They have to live day to day, not knowing when they're going to get the next meal. Some are even homeless. They have no house. So, as a parent, you do not want to put yourself in a position to where you cannot provide for your children. Okay, that's like the number one mindset. So that's what a lot of these mothers, or and also fathers who are also in the decision to get abortion, because they are not in a position, whether that be financial, emotional, physical, they're not able to care for the child the way the child should be. Okay? They're not maliciously saying, "Oh, I don't want this baby." They're not doing that. What they're saying is, "I am not in this position to give this child what this child needs and deserves and wants. I cannot provide for this child." That's what they are saying when they get an abortion. They're not maliciously counting how many abortions they could have. They're not doing that because most women don't even count how many abortions they have. Whenever someone asks to get an abortion, if they had an abortion or not and how many, they just say, "I have an abortion." Because what people will do is they will use how many numbers of abortion that woman might have had and use it to paint her as like, oh, she's a malicious child killer, when that's again not the case. Uh, but yeah, that was pretty terrible at the beginning. Not gonna hold you. But now the second thing that was wrong with this documentary is when they talk about the definition of abortion and when life begins. Now, here's the definition that they used.
By definition, abortion is when a pregnancy is ended so that it doesn't result in the birth of a child.
Now, we can't really agree with that definition. No, not even agree. We can't really argue with that definition, but there is something we can argue. So they brought in Dr. Anthony Lavinito, MD, who was a retired doctor who was pro-choice earlier in his career, but switched to pro-life when his 5-year-old daughter was killed. He was someone that performed abortions, but quit doing them in 1985 when he became pro-life. So immediately this guy's opinion on abortion already matches the pro-life rhetoric, and therefore he only exists in this documentary to echo said rhetoric. And so, guess what is the question they ask him? If you guess when life begins, then you are correct. So this pro-lifer said that, which all pro-lifers says, which is that life begins at conception or fertilization. Now, there is a reason why us pro-choice people ignore this. One, we already know when life begins, and two, that is not what we're talking about when we ask when life begins. When we think about life, we think about something that can acknowledge the world and existence. It has all things associated with life, such as a heart, lungs, a brain, etc. A tiny egg I can't even visualize by clasping my fingers together doesn't know any of that. Doesn't know what abortion is. Doesn't know the world is. It doesn't even know about itself yet. All it knows is it has DNA and it is focused on growing and becoming an actual person. It knows nothing about the world, nor what abortion is, or know what it might be missing out on life. So when abortion happens, especially in the first trimester, it is just a small fetus or just that is still developing a brain, heart, and everything else. It is not viable to live outside the womb and therefore isn't real life. Then my favorite part is when he says this.
When you figure out here, not here, that killing a baby this big for money is wrong, it doesn't take you too long to figure out it doesn't matter if the baby is this big or even this big. It's all the same.
Okay, I don't know what he's talking about, killing a baby for money, and that it doesn't matter what side it is, killing a baby is wrong. First of all, he makes it sound like it's a malicious practice that abortion only exists for people to make money, which is untrue. Yes, people do make money off of it, but at the same time, so does every job. You have a job to make money. We all know this. This is nothing new. Now, can we agree that some professions may be questionable in earning money? Yes, but abortion is not one of them because not only are you helping a woman who might have, whatever she's going on in her life and can't provide for the child and doesn't want to give the baby off for abortion, you know, not abortion, adoption. Oh, the two A words, man. They're so close together. I can never say the one I want. But adoption, then you paint this woman as, oh, she just don't want kids, and that the abortion clinic is just using this woman to make money off of. And I'm like, that makes no sense. The logic does not follow because obviously that's the target audience. That's who they're providing tools and stuff for. People who want abortions. Okay, that's called what you call a target audience. You don't see abortion clinics advertising and helping out men with their vasectomies because that's not what they do. They're literally people trained in doing abortions. They went to school for it. They know what they're doing, and they know who they're doing it for. That's the whole point of a target audience. So, second of all, he said that it doesn't matter what size the baby is, and however, he completely forgets that it does matter because a single cell organism isn't a baby. Like, it's not a baby. We all know that. So when people keep saying, "Oh, you're killing a baby," you're really not because it's a single cell organism. Doesn't have everything we associate with a baby. Oh my god. Just this is gold, but it gets even worse, I'm afraid to tell you. It might be gold right now, but I'm telling you, it gets even worse. Okay, so the third thing that is wrong with this video is when they bring in yet another doctor. Kathy Altman, MD, is the second retired doctor they interview, and she is also a Christian and pro-life and also did abortions. Like, did they only get doctors who are retired the same faith as them and stop doing abortions altogether? Why, if they were supposed to do this from like a neutral perspective, why aren't they doing someone who is a pro-choice and that does abortions? Why not that person? I feel like you're missing the whole point of what being neutral is because you bring in both sides and you comment on both sides. You've literally in not even like 10 minutes apart, you've already invalidated your neutrality by bringing in two people who are the same faith as you, retired doctors that did abortions that no longer do abortions. You have nobody who's in that current field, and it's just, no, it just doesn't work, okay? And so the reason why Kathy immediately discredits his documentary is when she starts to talk about the different abortions and explains how they're performed. However, she doesn't go through all the abortion methods. She only goes to one. And it is a little gruesome. And it did give me a little squeamish. And made me feel something in my heart. But did it change my stance on abortions? No. Absolutely not. So the method she explained, which is a D&E method of abortion, which is commonly used for miscarriage. They leave out the details that it is only for really those specific ones, and that clinics don't actually go to D&E abortions first. Okay? Not to say that D&C abortions are better, but she doesn't explain how common D&E abortions are when they're really not. And that just shows you how malicious this documentary is, trying to paint these people who do abortion procedures in such a negative light. And as if they are humane sickos that love doing these things when that is far from the truth. Okay, so for my fourth point, I had to sit through 20 minutes of this mind-numbingly. I can't even get through it after my whole brain is fried. So we spend the next 20 minutes doing testimonials, uh, and where people uh, who thought about abortions or people that were almost forced to get an abortion or possibly even had abortions share their stories. And one of them was Cole LaBrant's grandma. Okay, just you guys wanna strap in because this is a long one. Okay, so after a story that we didn't really ask for, this is the statement is what really pissed me off. Okay, this is the one that really got me up in arms. Okay, so this is the point that all pro-lifers love to use. Okay, and this is a statement right here.
If my grandma did not decide to keep my mom, not only would I not be here, but my kids wouldn't be here. And one day, my kids' kids, and my kids' kids' kids, and so on. Saying yes to keeping your baby affects so much more than you could ever imagine.
Okay, so once we start using logic, reasoning, and basic common sense, right, we can see how this argument of, oh, the baby you aborted could have been a doctor, could have been a lawyer, could have been yada yada yada, this and that and the other, uh, they completely and conveniently leave out the fact that they could just as easily become the complete opposite of all those examples, like a rapist, a murderer, a pedophile, a cult leader, so far and so forth. Do I really need to keep going? And every time I hear this point, I get so mad because they act like a child who is born is guaranteed to be the next greatest thing, which is simply untrue if the mother keeps the child. Uh, but then I was like, say, okay, but what about the kids dying in school shootings right now, from elementary level to high school? What about those kids? They could have easily been the one to cure cancer, become the next doctor, and solve world hunger. Like, what about those kids? We just completely about them. Uh, but then I guess we'll never know because they were taken away from their families, all because our country has terrible gun policy, as we are the highest per capita of mass shootings because we can't seem to go 1 year without them. Um, and I'm sick and tired of them using this hypothetical as if they're truly looking out for the kids. And if that's the case, why aren't you advocating for stricter gun laws? Why aren't you fixing the foster care system at all? Why do so many children live in poverty? You say you care about life as much as you do, but only a life that is just not started. Once they're out of the womb, not my problem. But the moment they're in the womb, like no, they have to live. That baby has to live to see none of this, that, and the other. It does. You have to pick. You have to stay consistent with your message because this ain't the math ain't mathin'. This ain't clicking. I am so done with Republicans forcing women to have children only to turn around and tell that same woman asking for assistance to raise her child to piss off and it's not their problem. They have more important things to worry about. And some Republicans are even trying to get rid of free lunches in schools. Like, what is going on? Why? Who do y'all need help? Like, what? Please talk to us. Why are you trying to get rid of free lunches for? It literally makes no sense. And so and then also, they love to also do this too. They were like, well, the baby could easily be the next Albert Einstein. And I'm like, okay, the baby could easily become the next Hitler or Jeffrey Epstein. What? I'm not seeing what you're talking about. We must not be talking about the same child because that child could literally be either or. Nothing is guaranteed, especially in this game called life. Nothing is guaranteed. The rules are not straightforward. Uh, but even at the end of the day, it isn't even your business, okay? Because you have no right to tell somebody what to do with their bodies at the end of the day. It's as simple as that. Ugh, I'm so done. Okay, now the very last thing that is wrong with this documentary that I want to leave you guys with, because I'm absolutely done with the whole thing, is because we get Mr. Levantino again to give some advice to women who might be considering abortion. And guess what this douchebag proceeds to say?
I understand that you're worried about finances, and I understand that you're worried about your education, and I understand that you're worried about the impact on your life in the future. I understand that you may not feel able to provide for your son or daughter in the future. But I want you to understand one thing. There is something that only you can give your son or daughter, and that is a chance to live, the very same chance that you have to enjoy life. Only you can provide that to them.
This was basically gaslighting women to keep their babies. Please don't take away their chance to live. Only you can give that to your child. That's the one thing you provide for your child. Okay, well then tell that to all these parents abusing their children. Tell that to all these kids who are in foster care, who actually went out of foster care, never getting a family that wanted them. Tell that to all these children that are in poverty, not knowing when they're going to get their next meals. I will never have respect for anyone who gaslights women to not have abortions and making these people in abortion clinics feel evil for doing abortions. Making these women and these people believe that they're robbing a child's life is the most disgusting fear-mongering tactic that anyone could use, that Christians love to use. Meanwhile, Catholic priests over here sexual assaulting and preying on so many young children for centuries to this day still, and no one bats an eye on it. You do not know how many times I've seen something out of the Catholic Church, or any church for that matter, where pastors and members of clergy are abusing kids, sexually and physically. It doesn't matter. It's still abuse. It's all the same. I can't anymore. I have lost all my patience dealing with them and their idiotic stance that is forcing so many women to suffer for no reason because they literally cannot mind their own business. The LaBrant family knew full well what they were doing when they uploaded this documentary. They know what they was doing, and then that they had the nerve to say, well, all the proceeds are going to Planned Parenthood. Oh, really? Why only Planned Parenthood? Why not also, you know, women who are considering abortions or women who need money for abortions? Why only those people? Oh, right, because you're not neutral, because you believe that women should keep their children, as you said in this video, that you hope this video could save at least one child. So no wonder why, okay? And plus you also knew, because you knew that what you're going to put in this documentary was complete BS. And that no ad person in their mind want to put an ad on your video because it's probably not going to get any monetization because of the subjects that you're talking about, and also because of how whack it is. Now, the Brant family, please, you guys are always in controversy. Do you know why that is? Because you give takes no one asked for, you do things no one asked for, and you guys believe you're changing the world when really you're already adding more and more unnecessary fuel to an erupting volcano that hasn't stopped erupting since Roe v. Wade. Please, guys, I literally can't anymore. Anytime I see something with abortion in it, I'm just like, please make it stop. Please. Please make it stop. We have so many things to worry about. And that's the thing. Republicans are so obsessed with culture wars. They're so obsessed with the wrong things that our complete infrastructure is failing. We have terrible roads, terrible education system, especially in Nevada. That's, oh my God, Clark County School District, one of the worst. We're like at 50. Okay? Then we have people who are going hungry, people who have no shelter. Then we have people getting kicked out of their homes because landlords are going apeshit. Okay? Now we need to stop it. We need to stop focusing on women. We have to. Please, for the love of God. Okay. I think after that, I think I'm calm, guys. I think I'm calm. But if I see something else by the LaBrant family about this topic at all, I think I don't even know, because it's just so many bad things. How are you going to compare abortion to genocide? Those are non sequiturs. They have nothing to do with each other. They literally have nothing to do with each other. But that's it, guys. If you liked the video, be sure to like that like button on fire and subscribe to join the flock. Can't even say my outro. I'm so mad. If you have, comments, questions, suggestions, anything you want to put in the comments, please do so. As always, I would love to see them. This is Phoenix4568 signing off, and until next time.